The devastating typhoon in the Philippines is estimated to have killed at least 10,000 people and affected more than 9 million overall. But the full extent of the damage wrought by Haiyan is still not known, so those figures could rise still further. Thousands of survivors have been left without homes, electricity and clean water and are now desperately in need of food and shelter. The head of the Red Cross in the area has described the situation as one of absolute bedlam. Well, our correspondent John Donaldson is in one of the worst affected areas, Tacloban, and he sent us this report.
Tacloban has been flattened. The survivors are having to live among the dead. The streets are busy as people search for their loved ones still missing.
This is the main street through the centre of Tacloban, and the destruction is almost complete. Barely a building standing, and there's the stench of death in the air. We've seen scores of bodies just in the few kilometres we've driven in from the airport, and behind us a couple of bodies bundled up in tarpaulin.
The city's battered airport is now the hub of the aid operation. But for the hundreds of desperate people kept at bay at the gates, it's simply not getting here fast enough.
Now we're so very hungry and thirsty. That's why we're hurting, because even it's so, if you have water or food there, maybe you can give us.
Next to the runway, a makeshift hospital. Some patients being treated without anaesthetics to numb the pain. This woman has just given birth, a baby girl named Bea Joy, born into a world upturned. And alongside them, another young woman is also in labour. People waiting here are desperate to get out on any plane they can find.
This is my dad's only chance for life. I said either we have to leave tomorrow morning, today, or we're going to go somewhere else. But he needs dialysis, and he's been off now for 2 days. He's in critical condition. And so if the world's out there, send help, because these people need it.
In the city, the country's interior minister is hands-on directing traffic. But the devastation is overwhelming, and so far there's little sign the government is managing to get aid out to the many in need. So people are doing whatever they can to help themselves. This used to be a supermarket. Those who have nothing are looking for anything they can find. But unless more relief comes quickly, the little food there is will run out soon. John Donaldson, BBC News, Tacloban.
And John joins us now from Tacloban. And John, looking at your report, it seems that there are kind of next to no vestiges of civil functioning society left where you are.
Look, I just don't think you can overstate the scale of the devastation here. It is really pretty bleak. And for people living here, and I think for the officials trying to help, it's frankly overwhelming. But at the moment, there doesn't seem to be, when you travel around the city, a major aid operation underway. Now, that may change in the coming days. And I think one of the things you have to remember is that this is just one town on one island in one province. We don't really know the situation in the wider area, in the more remote areas. And the bad news as well, we've got the weather reports coming in telling us in the coming days there's going to be rain, and that's going to make an already awful situation probably worse for the hundreds of thousands of people living without shelter.
And John, presumably the need for aid is now and immediate.
It is immediate. People are hungry. They need fresh water. They need fuel. There's no power here. And they need tents, shelter, somewhere to sleep. When you look around the neighbourhood where we are, you literally cannot see a house with a roof on. And with rain coming, that's obviously going to be pretty desperate. Now, many people, they don't have a house at all. And as we saw in that report, a lot of people are frankly saying they're giving up on staying here and trying to get out. They're heading to the airport and trying to get on any flight they can.
OK, John Donaldson in Tacloban, thank you very much indeed.
3 days in and some aid is getting through. In Tacloban, the army has started to deliver supplies to those most in need. But in the midst of such chaos and destruction, it's clearly not enough.
Our problem is getting more relief goods in because the roads are not yet accessible. Okay? I myself already helped, even the day after the storm, we were retrieving bodies at the same time clearing roads.
It's an agonizing wait for those who have lost everything. They're hungry, they need shelter, and in many cases, they've been separated from their families too.
We need food. Mum, please help me. Mum, I'm still here in Tacloban, and I'm still alive.
Long lines too for fuel. It's in desperately short supply. On a street corner, it's distributed bottle by bottle. Tacloban is suffering terribly, but the typhoon swept across a huge swathe of the Philippines. Helicopters are ferrying rice and other supplies to nearby islands. The list of needs is daunting.
Basically, it's food and water. After would come the other basic necessities, medicines, and we have to prepare for any epidemic that might break out.
The American military is here too, a Marine Expeditionary Force helping to organize the response.
It's a whole government approach. The embassy has asked for not just military, but USAID is here, international relief organizations are here. Obviously the military has logistics capabilities that are unique.
Similar terrible scenes of devastation from Samar Island just to the north. Only a handful of concrete buildings still standing, the rest washed away by the storm surge. Many places were evacuated before the typhoon hit, but it's not known how many people died here and elsewhere. Further afield, signs of a much bigger relief effort gathering pace. In the capital, Manila, American transport planes have arrived, ready to take food and water south to the disaster zone. At least one has already left. It can't happen fast enough for hundreds of thousands of displaced, desperate people. This is a population on the move, scavenging what it can to survive. Paul Adams, BBC News.